Go. Hello, everyone. This is the Dread Pirate once again. We're gonna try this one more time here. Basically, it's me and Malmodo here, and we're thinking about reviving one of our old campaigns, and it's called Arc Sun, right, Malmodo?
Arc Star. You've
Arc
mispronounced
Star.
it every time since I told you it.
Arc Star. Okay, this is Arc Star. This is a science fiction game. This is an original that Malmodo created, and we ran way back. Like this was pre-YouTube. This was pre-military for me.
Like
this
4
is
years ago.
Yeah, this is like way back. I was like, man, I was a young man. I was like 25 back then. I was like, not this old fucking grandpa that I am right now. But
this is only like 6. This is like 5, maybe 4 years ago, man.
Yeah, that's too long, man.
It might be 7. How long have we known each other? Jesus Christ, we're old.
Jesus, yeah, we are.
I mentioned before
it's like 10 years, I think, at this point, right?
I don't think we're at 10 years. I don't know. I've been friends with other people for 10 years.
Yeah.
But if I met you in 2009, it'd be 10 years. But I didn't meet you in 2009. I met you in 2010 or 11.
2010 or 11. So that would be, yeah, it's about like 8. We're almost at the decade point. So.
We didn't start playing this game until like 5 years ago.
Yeah. So. Yeah.
I don't get time mixed up. This is why I get so pissed off with my paradoxes.
Yeah. Fuck time travel. But.
No, I can do it right. Like, my Buffy game is on point still. And if someone wants to get in there and argue about, like, how the time works out... Yeah, because Eddie wants to fucking weeden it up. And I'm like, no, I'm anti-weeden.
You think I want to weeden it... Well, I do want to weeden it up. I want you to encounter Whedon-created characters. But at the same time, I want Days of Future Past.
Man, the only thing I want to weeden up is myself.
I want cyborg vampire sentinels in the future, because of you. Right. So, yeah.
That's silly. But I will make a robot army if that starts up.
Okay, so let's do the introduction. This is a
let's get into the actual game. So Arc Star, not Arc Sun. I think something else. But Arc Star is about Earth a couple of centuries into the future, maybe even a couple of millennia, considering how fucking bad people are. But it's not that much better, so probably only a couple of centuries. So humanity is now star traveling. We've encountered aliens. We've dealt with them. We've been out of war with a few. We have allies in space and so forth. So essentially, we join the entire galactic commerce ring. There is no intergalactic travel. If you're aware of space travel, the distance between galaxies is immense. And so it's prohibitive because of that. You'd be like traveling for 2,000 years at multiple speeds of light to get to the next galaxy. So it's mostly an intergalactic society. There's multiple races. But what essentially is happening now is humanity, Earth has been destroyed. So humanity started up border skirmishes with the Nuazic, which are a group of aliens that are sort of like big old hippies, except they're fucking giant mantis hippies. But whatever. Gorilla mantises is the better way to describe them. They're cool, they have psionic powers, and yada yada yada. But I digress.
They're thrice green.
Yeah, no. Don't bring up fucking weird, stupid D&D shit.
No.
Yeah, anyhow. They're actually just, normal people inside of biomechanical suits. But, weird shit. So humanity had skirmish wars with them. And then, there was a peace settlement. And then it started back up again because humanity was pushing into Nuazic claimed space and apparently attacked Nuazic settlements, which the Nuazic weren't going to take lying down. And it eventually led to them overrunning Earth, and humans released a bio weapon on Earth to clean them out. And because they didn't want to destroy Earth, it was a not a mechanophage, but it was a phage, biophage, that became partially sentient and then consumed Earth itself. And humanity had to flee Earth because originally, I think Nuazic only took about like a third of the Earth, and they released the phage, and the phage consumed the rest of it.
If I recall, it's a big organic. It's like a big organic biomass that just consumed everything.
It's a biometal phage.
Ooh.
And it's a lot of fun.
So it's not like the Dogscape.
The phage is called Necra. And the Necra is essentially all your worst nightmares about the thing, except you really just can't set it on fire because it's made out of metal too. The Necra actually have units. They essentially consume everything, but they have like a hive mind unit, and smaller units are their own collective. It's essentially like Borg cubes, nasty xenomorph level shit.
Mm-hmm.
And Yeah, the units can do xenomorph shit like climb on walls and devour your nasty body, or they can make bioweapon level projectors that shoot pulses of energy or spike. They could have blade limb, nasty tendril limbs, and they essentially just consume people in the most ravenous Zerg like way. Anyhow, so
Zerg
there's
swarm.
the Necronic gets released into the galaxy. They immediately, they hop on ships, they spread like a virally like that, and they start consuming other places. So another planet that was lost was Rama, which is one of Earth's allies. And those people were like my fake Vulcans, who mostly all died trying to take back. There's a few of them around. They go by the name the Coward. Yada yada. Still is up. So that's the history up until this point, where the humans, they mostly kept away from Earth. The Necra are kept in through a galactic net, essentially, to keep them a net of ships. What's the word?
Blockade.
Yeah, galactic blockade. I got it right before you said it.
Yeah.
I'm slow as hell. No.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the humans are outright hated.
Trade with Naboo.
Shut up. And humans are outright hated because essentially several other races were affected by the Necra, and they hate us for it. So humans.
In other words, America, humans, fuck yeah.
But we were very enterprising and moved quickly into the stars, so we actually have a very large control over part of the galaxy before encountering alien. Yeah. The United Terran planets, now missing their homeworld Earth, and about a quarter of their habitat was taken by the Necra, or space fucking A, I can't remember. Territories was taken by the Necra. So during this time, a few things happen. There's the start of the war, the release of the Necra. There's other historical characters in there in the background, but along comes Eddie's character, Malcolm Ford.
Yes, Captain Malcolm Ford. All right,
so
terribly.
Give a heads up about who your character is, and I'll explain some background characters when they come up.
All right, so this is a terribly unoriginal character. I wasn't quite sure what to build here, but I was watching.
Oh yes, Eddie was fighting me to not make anything new.
I'm trying to think of what I wanted to play instead. Like what? Like one of the Smurfs? Like, Superman?
Yeah. Like a literal Smurf. Oh, no, Superman, no. I thought you meant like
a xenomorph armed with a machine gun. Maybe it was a fish. Did I do the fish to you?
No, I think you tried to do something. You rolled some dice and you were like, oh, the dice speak to me. Because you guys love your random generation.
Yes.
And
random. Okay, before I explain Malcolm Ford, I just would like to talk about, so there's other Josh, who I also like to torment, and he has a joke that, like, I would one day just play a fish, like a goldfish, and it's like, there's an elf, there's a dwarf, and then Eddie, it's like, I'm a fish. So what are you gonna do? I'm gonna sit here and swim. It's like, all right, we eat you.
There's no water.
And it's like, and I was gonna be like, yeah,
essentially it was waste everybody's time by having 30 seconds of trying to make a joke that nobody wanted.
Yes. And then someone kills and eats me, and I'm like, I've done my job. It's a satisfying game for me. But then I was reminded that there's a Super Nintendo game called Evo where you play a fish. You role play as a fish. And there's an old PC game where you can role play as a fish. So there you go.
Evolve into a human.
Yeah, fuck you.
I can play old school Spore.
There's role play games out there where I can play as a fish. So this has a lot to do with my character.
Well, play Spore then, you jackass.
Spore's a good game. All right, this has a lot to do with my character. But, so, Malcolm Ford, I think I was watching, like, a lot of Firefly. I was watching a lot of Firefly at the time. 2 minutes for that bit. What?
2 minutes for that bit.
Okay.
Spend 2 minutes talking about how you beat it.
I'm playing a fish. I'm a fucking fish. Anyway. So, I was watching a lot of Firefly at the time, and Firefly's a good show. And, I liked Nathan Fillion's character, Mal. And I was thinking, like, I want to be, like, a smuggler type character, like a Harrison Ford Han Solo character. So it's like, all right, well, that's what I'm going to play. And, like, well, what I'm going to call myself? And I couldn't think of a name, and it was really bad. So, like, fuck it. I'm just going to, like, borrow names from those two characters. I'm going to take Malcolm from Malcolm Reynolds, and I'm going to take Ford from Harrison Ford, because I am terribly unoriginal. And that's basically what it was. I think my guy had some kind of military experience. That was like my backstory, and it was like, I did something similar to Malcolm Reynolds for Firefly, where it's like I used to be. It wasn't so like it wasn't exactly the same. It wasn't like I was a brown.
You deserted post, I think, around the time that the Necraw was taking the world or something.
Yeah, I was. I basically I'd served in the military, and I did my time, and then I got out of the military. I decided I didn't like being in the military too much, and so I decided to go get my own ship and just kind of explore the galaxy and kind of make my own fortune. And so I became like a smuggler, mercenary type character who would just take all sorts of odd jobs. And I think the big thing is I remember, like, in terms of World of Darkness, I got myself like a really high resource score. So I basically like was really successful, and I made bank, and I became a very wealthy smuggler, and that was my main thing. And I had like a
well, you had enough money to stay permanently moored.
Yeah, I basically could stay permanently moored if I wanted to, but it was just like I think this was one of my first. This wasn't my first World of Darkness game, because I played Vampire the Masquerade before I met you.
Yeah,
and this is the first time we actually
new World of Darkness.
This first new World of Darkness, but also it was the first time I played World of Darkness tabletop, which I honestly think it should be better played as opposed to what I started with, which was fucking LARPing. Oh. Yeah.
No, you got introduced to the awful LARPing community of Tampa. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, the terrible.
You're going on another tangent instead of like explaining fucking the game.
Yeah, I'm sorry. This is all important in my brain.
It's all important that you talk about awful nerds that are still there to this day, ruining LARPing for an entire new generation that try to predate on young girls.
That's exactly why the Vampire the Masquerade community at USF did shut down. Is like they were trying to. I was a teenager at the time. They were like older men were trying to hook up with high school kids. It was like that's like gross. No joke. That's what was happening, people. Yeah, like you and I played at tabletop, and it was like I still didn't. You kind of made it make sense for me, and like only recently, since we started doing Dense, has it like actually make sense to me to the point where it's like, oh, I get how this.
And even then, you get a little confused. Where I'm like, what do you mean you have 8 lethal damage, Phil? And you're like, oh, lethal is a different damage box set from bashing, and I'm like, no.
I stand by that. But even then, I understand why. I stand by the rules. I understand why I'm wrong about that. So there you go. Yeah, it was kind of neat, and I think we lost my character sheet, so I'm gonna have to make a new one. But
yeah,
it was.
I've given him credit for gameplay in the past because we did end up playing like 4 sessions.
Yeah,
and I've always been sort of a Motley Hall DM, but also because I want this game to start moving forward, and his character is very underpowered considering what he's around. So once you understand the history of what he's done thus far and the characters around him, I sort of owe him a bone.
Yeah, which is cool. I'm down with that. But yeah, like I think the main thing about Malcolm is like he's got I got like a sidearm, I got like a hand, I got a blaster pistol, typical space shit.
Explain Malcolm Ford first, where you got the names from, so we can actually get to where this is. You explain why it's called Malcolm.
I did that 2 minutes ago.
But you explained why it's called Malcolm.
Yeah, I did.
Didn't explain Ford.
I explained Ford. Ford is Harrison Ford.
Yeah, but he's based off of Han Solo for getting that name.
I know.
You couldn't just go with...
I explained it.
Just tell the audience. You did.
The audience knows.
Okay.
ADD much? Sit in your corner.
Okay.
Malmodo's crying now. Anyway. So, okay, I think there's not much to the backstory of the character other than that, though. It's like, I made a lot of money. My character is just kind of like, he adventures for fun. I've had a couple, I travel around, like, the Outer Rim, and, like, I see space every now and then. I kind of party at this one space station I go to all the time. And I've had a couple of adventures and whatnot, but I'm not as, like, adventure-hardened as, like, say, maybe your typical D&D character. It's like, I slayed a lich yesterday. No, nothing like that. And, I forgot the name of, like, the space station that, like, most of this takes place at.
I can't remember the name of it either. I don't know if I'm going to go with, like, a generic name or, like, some, like, fucking Cowboy Bebop name.
Yeah, and so there's this one space station I always go to and, like, dock at, and I have a bunch of friends there.
Well, the one thing that makes life unfortunate is that he's...
You alright over there?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm trying to get my speaker or my phone to plug in and charge, but it's being it's just a plug. No, go on.
Okay. Well, here at the Dread Pirates channel, we always have the top of the line like equipment for making YouTube videos, folks. Namely, a cell phone and one snowball microphone, and Windows 10. That's all we got. Yeah, I recall like we started the game up. I was going to meet a friend of mine who is Ruby, I want to say.
Yeah, Ruby is a alien based off the monsters from Pitch Black. I just wanted him to be intelligent instead. So he's actually that race of weird ass monster, except without the arm. But he's essentially this pale, completely blind bat creature that uses like science and stuff. They actually are very strange, but there's a reason why humans are the main players in the universe and only a few other races. Because he's just this odd and strangely frail creature. Like he's also still weak to.
Yeah, and he's like very bat-like. He's blind. They're like all Daredevil. They all have like they get around by sound alone, and especially in their case, it's like they can see through music. So it's like one of the things.
He was using old school metal, old hair metal to.
Yeah, I would like trap like music is almost like addicted to them, and so I would like give this guy like rock music, as just like. Just
well, instead of doing mushrooms and listening to Pink Floyd, all you had to do is listen.
Yeah, repeat that one more time.
Instead of doing LSD and listening to Pink Floyd, all you had to do is listen to Pink Floyd.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, so it's like, and so that guy was basically kind of like my best friend alien, and he
had another guy that was like obnoxious, trying to why humans suck guy. He was essentially like a racist.
That was the security officer. That was the security.
But he was also cool with you.
Yeah.
But humans were like such third-class citizens now that it was like openly acceptable to be absolutely just shit on humans for.
Yeah, he would just like I would go to the bar and drink, and he would just make fun of me. He would just make fun of humans, and I'd make fun of his species. And I think his species had like 6 arms. And
they were multi-limbed weasel-like creatures that didn't have fur. No.
And he had like nipples on his back.
And he had 2 dicks.
Yeah, and he had 2 dicks.
And he liked human prostitutes because he could blow their.
Yeah, speaking of prostitutes,
he'd tell you about how long he'd have sex, and he's like, "Oh, we mate for."
Mate for what?
Like 14 hours or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, and so these are basically my drinking buddies. And speaking of which, I think Ruvy's species is asexual. They just like occasionally. It's kind of like enemy mine.
He also fed off the methane enriched. So, like they weren't the crazy.
All right, you're cutting out again. Methane enriched what?
He fed off of like he like they go to the bar and drink, and I was like, oh, they can't all be drinking the same fucking grog. Like humans and the strange ferret multi-limbed creature could drink about alcohol, but Ruby had to drink like this strange methane paste. Like they're sitting there eating peanuts and wings, and he's having like this mushroom chowder thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and his species was like it was like asexual. It kind of reminded me of Enemy Mine, where it's like one day he just might spawn a baby, So for that Enemy Mine role playing game I want to do one day.
Ruby was a scientist above everything. Remember, that's story critical.
Yeah, he's scientist above everything. Speaking of prostitutes, though, so then there's Scarlet, who is the again Malcolm Ford, much
your
like myself.
Companion on the ship.
I'm a bit of a man horse, so it's like he frequents the brothel often, and there was this. His favorite was this hot redhead prostitute he saw all the time, which eventually, due to the fact that it's like, baby, I'm loaded, I've kind of roped into being my girlfriend and is now accompanying us. I had to roleplay that several sessions. It was just like she also kind of got wrapped into the adventure aspect of it. I think I taught her how to shoot too.
I think there was something up with your ship, like because of the fracturing of humans near the end. You technically had a military vessel, but it was essentially because you owed this one guy to leave you alone about it.
We're getting to that, actually. So I think our first session was involving...
You gotta explain Tim.
Yeah, this was actually, and I think, like, do we want to talk about, like, how we almost had a fight in the situation because I didn't understand the system?
Go on.
Yeah, like, I think you almost had a fight because, like,
I don't remember all of this. I just know where the story went, because I haven't
Yeah, because I almost got a fight with these people because you made it look like their hands were fucked up, like they were about to attack me, and it was like, and then we started a fight, and then we realized, wait a minute, oh, it would have just been a basic knowledge check. They would have realized it's like, oh, he's got like, these are military people. It's like that's not enough to shoot them over. So it's like, I think we redid it. So it was like we almost had this.
Oh, they were transporting something, and you got a hold of it.
Yeah. So I think like again, Malcolm does all sorts of odd jobs. So it's like he was just going to transport a bunch of people to like the Outer Rim. They claimed they were tourists. And there was like equal like young men and young women. And I think I was talking to like one of the ladies, and I just noticed that basically like on her again the first time around, I think this started a fight, and then we realized
Ruby wanted to go with you.
Yeah, I think I didn't take Ruby with me. I went alone. What the thing that kind of set the whole thing off was like, and you were a merciful DM. You let me take this back because you're not a dick like I am. But it's like the thing is like I noticed that there were calluses on her hand, and it was very obvious that they use a gun very often. And so I was able to. So once we like stopped us from derailing the story immediately, and I realized it was like, look, you just would have noticed that like this person uses guns and they look like they, essentially I made the deduction that these people were military. And I don't know if you've gone into this, but basically I think we established that the military in your
He thought they were going to jack his ship, so he shot first. He's fucking...
Yeah, so we almost got into a huge fight over the whole thing. And then I realized it was like, okay, I started asking more questions, like, well, like how bad is the military here? And I think the problem is the military is kind of dystopian and dickish in your world. Like, they're completely untrustworthy. But
well, there's some that are fractured off because after Earth was destroyed, essentially Earth was the bastion of political power. Yeah. So with Earth destroyed and taken over, the remaining territories of humans fractured up.
Yeah.
So there's groups of humans that are still continuing on the war with the New ASIC, and then there's others that are like, no, we're at peace. We don't want to fight them anymore. But essentially, now there's the two-tier war of them fighting the New ASIC still and fighting with these other colony territories that want to just go and not deal with that shit anymore.
Yeah. So basically, I think when we came to the conclusion was that, like, we concluded...
The problem is, like, the largest territory is the one still fighting both.
Yeah. So once we realized that my character wouldn't necessarily freak out once he realized he had covert military people on his ship, I realized, okay, like, I wouldn't have attacked these people then. So,
So that got cleared up.
That got cleared up, and so basically my character, we kind of...
That was mostly because you hadn't had me DM it.
Yeah, this is my...
I was like, I don't want to play D&D. I don't want to play D&D. I don't play my ST game. And he's like, I want to play D&D. And I'm like, just play the fucking White Wolf game. He's like, no, this is what happened to USF. And he pulled out the doll and he showed me where they touched him on the doll. And I'm all like, okay, Eddie. And he's like, no. And then he starts cutting holes in the doll and putting his fingers in the holes. Like, he just wouldn't play the ST system. That I finally got him to fucking
I have no
play
recollection of these events.
And he was so defensive that he busted out on my first meeting as if the first thing I'd try to do is kill him in a game that I played. Because I guess he plays with sociopathic D&Ds. They're like, I gotta kill his character immediately.
We need to do so many, we really do need to do so many more.
This guy, though, keeps trying to kill me every 5 minutes. He's like, roll up a character. And I'm like, listen, it's going to take me 45 minutes to roll up a character. He's like, roll up a character. Then we play for 15 minutes, and he tries to kill that character right there. And I'm like, dude, let me get in the full 45 that I put in at least. But no. And he's like, you die. Like, this is why he loves his stupid game where it's roll 2 dice.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you were saying. I just had this huge heart-on right now, just after listening to you talk about me killing you. I don't know why I did that. I was just,
Shit. So anyhow, he plays the game.
Yeah, but this was like this is the first game I think
he ends up on the ship, and they're going to the Outer Rim, and what they're doing is they're setting down a device.
Yeah. And so once I realized that these were military people, I think I talked to Steve, who was the commander, who was just like the old guy who was like, he was like acting like these are like just friends of his or like his students. And then there was a moment where, like, it felt like Steve's Steve and I had formed this awkward, uncomfortable, like friendship, I guess, or like I don't know if I can trust him or he doesn't know if he can trust me. It's like,
well, he knows you're a military guy, and he knows that you're not a guy. You just did what a guy that needed to survive at the time would do.
Yeah, but it's like I think there was concern that he was about to kill me, maybe. And then maybe I was concerned he was about to kill. Like, I think we're both good guys. It's just we don't we don't 100% know we can trust each other, and it's like I kind of can't trust him 100% because he still works for the military, and his orders might demand that they
because you'll have to go looking for somebody that's wanted by.
Yeah. So
who gets you to go looking for Crone?
Who is Crone again?
Crone is the super hardcore ex-special forces guy that fucks.
All right, say that last part again. You got cut off again.
That's the one that is getting with the.
You cut out again, man.
All right, so you get like this entire ragtag group, and it's the one that's like the old war hero that got blamed for this mission gone afoul.
I don't remember that guy like at all. The closest I remember was Steve, who was the old guy.
Okay, so what ends up happening is you end up getting a mild DM character because this character's been around in a different story.
Oh yeah, Crone was like the last. Crone was like let's wait on Crone. Crone was like one of the last thing that happened.
Oh, okay.
We got Crone late. Yeah.
Really?
That was yeah, I barely remember this. So okay, so
I gotta remind you about Crone.
Yeah, because I remember you telling me about Crone and like the backstory, and then I actually ran into him. But anyway, so I kind of me and Steve kind of like realized, okay, look, I know you're military. You know, I'm former military. It's like we understand each other, and we have this kind of. He's like my contact in the military.
His name is Tim.
Tim, that's right, Tim. Okay, so like
he's based off a dickbag GM I used to have.
Yeah.
He isn't that nice. He's kind of a curt dick, but he's okay.
Yeah. Well, like yeah, Tim and I have this awkward friendship where it's like he's my contact in the military. I'm like a resource that like an outside military contractor he kind of depends upon. So I let them go drop off their thing.
He knows you're trustworthy.
He knows I'm trustworthy. Say it again?
He does pay big bucks. That's why you even got him, because you were like...
All right, you cut out again. You said like I got paid well?
Yeah, he paid you big bucks because you were a high-level smuggler. Essentially, you were like well-known for being good at what you do.
Yeah.
You actually were like a Han Solo.
Yeah. So it's like, and I, unlike Han, I don't dump my
or
car.
a Malcolm Reynolds.
Or a Malcolm Reynolds, yeah. So I made contact with him. Then we, once that mission was done, I went back to the space station, was hanging out there for a bit, and then we were introduced to the blue warrior lady, who was the walking supercomputer. Yeah.
Or no, you mean the quantum computer and.
Yeah, the quantum computer lady.
All right, so what ends up happening is he has to go back out to the outer rim with the Ruvi. The Ruvi actually give him a lift out there on their weird-ass ship. He has to wear a spacesuit the entire time because they have a methane-enriched atmosphere.
Well, I thought Ruvi was the name of the guy, and that was the name of his species.
I forget the name that I had for his species. I'll have to go look it up. But it's in a book somewhere. It's the worst part.
Yeah,
I do have
Ruvi's people.
But Ruby's people's ship is completely lightless. They are an incredibly stealthy race. Their ships run on a different propulsionary system than ours. That's another big thing. Is like even races' way of traveling through space is different. Humans use hyperspace technology. They actually do a subdimensional drop, and then they warp along a place that has more access to use. There's other types that like use actual wormhole technology. And stuff like that. The Ruvi's people, we don't know what they do, but they have the most incredibly stealthy systems. And yeah, it turns out that Ruvi knows a guy who, but he also goes out there. What they encounter is a ship traveling between the galactic boundaries. A ship is coming from another galaxy, and essentially it is like, an impossible thought. And it's blazing through space at a speed many times before that, but it just created such a massive like distortion of gravity doing it that they knew it was coming because it created like a optical effect that's detectable and so on that they were able to by moving along.
It created what kind of optical effect?
All right, so when you have a lot of gravity, it creates like a. They detected it sort of as like a moving singularity.
A moving singularity.
Yeah, like a rogue singularity, just stabbed through our galaxy, consume considerable amount of stars, if not colliding with ways of set. But you know what? That's the big science behind it. That's actually possible. We could all just die suddenly, moving many times the speed of light, flips right through us.
Right, you're cutting out again.
Ah,
the government doesn't want to know. People don't want. Yeah.
True, because I'm talking about things that are like talk about the one dimension that go through our galaxy. But I digress. Anyhow, so this thing's coming at them, and they send a bunch of ships out there to see what it is, and they try to get around it by like a few galactic distance or intersolar distance. So, but it turns out to be a ship, and they can see it, and so they go out there to go and receive it because the Ruvi immediately detect that it has a pattern to its engine, and what they are these crazy ass quantum beings. So they are essentially like supercomputers, like, but the Enel are sort of like these angelic beings. There's these weird things.
You're cutting out again. You're talking about the Enel, right?
Yeah. So the thing about the Enel is, like, they detected the engine's frequency, which had like this strange musical quality, and it's because the Enel are essentially motherfucking angels. They have what I use for their power system is called faith. And so as long as they have a resolution interaction, they can cause reality to bend to their will.
Yeah.
And so they just decided to go fast, and they decided they could. They bent reality to their will and went really fucking fast. Galaxy.
Yeah.
And so
they're
it's intergalactic travel, which is a big thing.
They're living quantum computers. They're like kind of like now. Yeah. I'm trying to remember. Are they organic or are they like mechanical? They're like. It felt like they were organic.
They were completely mechanical, but they were such nanotech that you could not detect the difference between them.
You couldn't detect between. You couldn't tell that they were mechanical in nature.
Yeah, their cells are essentially mechanical.
But,
their cells would be essentially mechanically mimicking ours.
Okay.
And or just on such a finite difference, but essentially it's like they were like practically bulletproof, like lasers washed over their skin, no different than a bright flashlight.
Yeah.
If they were like completely armored up.
Mm-hmm.
And so like he had this Enel join his party. I forgot how she joined him because she had a party of two that went with her.
I think
she was like, I will join y'all.
They wanted becoming a diplomatic envoy, and they came back to the space station, and I started talking to her, and then I started learning about like the kind of demonic equivalent of them, the bad guy version.
Oh, the Oni.
The Oni, yeah. And she started warning me about them, and then we got word that there might be. I think the reason why I wound up going on this one mission with her was because she wound up explaining to me that they're on a mission to track down the Oni, and the Oni have connections with the military and with like private human groups.
And she wanted to get away from their military fucking escort.
Yeah. And so she wound up like hooking up with me. I think at one point the military started kind of like snooping around my ship, and I had to stay hidden from them for a little bit because like, and I think I got a transmission.
That died her.
Yeah, they were after her basically, trying to figure out where
she essentially upgraded your technology whenever she got bored. You'd be like, "Oh, we can communicate through this," and she's like, "I've integrated this device into the system just by picking it up when you handed her like an earpiece."
Yeah. And
it was supposed to be crazy fun.
Now I think after that I think one of the first things she did was that's how we got Crone.
I'm gonna kill her. But anyhow, go on.
Yeah, well that's how we got Crone though, because I started investigating things with like with Ruvi about her. I started talking to her about it. We started contacting Tim, especially when Tim was like, I found out Tim was sending soldiers, or like soldiers working with Tim were basically snooping around my ship, and they were looking for her.
Yeah, because Tim was still tight with you.
Yeah.
And he's like,
what'd he say?
Yeah, Tim was still tight with you, and he's like, get out.
Yeah, and he kind of gave me a heads up. And then we wound up going on a mission to this one space station, and we rescued Crone. And the, what do you call them again? They're not the Oni, they're the Nell?
Nell, yeah.
Yeah, the Nell had contact with Crone.
Down.
And, like, Crone, now you need to explain Crone. I think we went on a mission to rescue him.
Okay, so Crone is a character that I designed in puberty. Is my first and only reason for his existence. Crone is a strangely empowered individual. So Crone was raised by a Nuazic for one of the original wars that came beforehand. And his Nuazic father is, oh my gosh, how can I forget his name? It's going to kick me in the ass because I know his name. It's inside my character list that I have on.
Yeah, the Nuazic are the Mantis people, right?
Del Delar. Yeah. They're like mantises. I told you earlier they're a bit more complex. They're organic suits over these withered aliens. Essentially, their bodies lost the ability to survive without support systems.
Yeah.
And they were so just in tune with nature, they were able to design them through genetic manipulation of several materials. So it's essentially like, hybrid DNA running through structures. So essentially they have like the ultimate, like, let's say, Bulbasaur. And so it gives them superhuman strength. It gives them, lots of survival. They can grow back lost limbs very easily. They can recover from what would be mortal damage if there's enough of them intact.
Yeah.
But, there's weird stuff they can get from these suits. And Del Delar was an advanced scientist for this kind of shit. And one of the things is one of his siblings was actually a politician in the war. But I digress. That's Crone's father. And Crone would essentially come to him as an aging child. Crone is a rednecky kid from like what was left of redneck on the world when the Nuazic were originally fighting. So these rednecks had gone to space trucker. And one of their kids...
You cut out a little bit, but they're basically space truckers, you said, right?
Yeah, that's Crone's parent. Well, this kid grew up on, like, a diet of that Midwestern. Like, he watched a lot of boys. He's supposed to be, like, a crazy ass. And he's utterly irresistible to women. And, oh, God damn it. He's a crazy ass, tank ass character that I just... Can you hear me now?
Try it one more time.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right. So he's a fun character that I built back in the day, and he's irresistible to women for some reason. And this is because he's a light psionic.
Yeah.
Because Del Delar did science experiments on this kid out of curiosity about doing science experiments because he's a scientist before all things, including the fucking pacifist ass, do no harm, motherfucking Nuazic.
Yeah.
And that was his dad. And he did no harm to the kid. He actually was like, human DNA is easy to augment. So this is essentially what is like a perfect human being by incident of also that humans are genetically modified to begin with.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he goes and he eventually, the Nuazic have to give up the kids they've had. So he raises this kid from like 11 all the way up to 16.
Yeah.
And probably earlier than that, 7 to 16. And that's his dad. His dad is the fucking bug man, and it's totally cool.
Yeah.
And so Crone also had this other issue. He'd go and do experimental studies inside of the military, because essentially he was identified as a threat from being like raised by the bug people, along with a bunch of other orphans he was left with, because the military essentially had military schools. Not military schools so much as military orphanage raising programs. So they re-entered the system at around 16 and other ages, and were put on the battlefield by military corporations for mostly dealing with the war front. But yeah, so not that old of people, had a lot of military experience. Crone was actually like, considered a pretty cool guy. That was his thing.
Yeah. If I remember, he was mildly...
I can't remember.
Yeah.
How did the encounter go where you had to save him? I'm trying to remember what happened.
He had contact with the Nell, and the Nell knew of him, and he was like being held hostage on some kind of space station. We went there to rescue him. I think they had a bunch of robots guarding the place, and I think a couple soldiers. So I sent my ship in. We boarded the place.
Oh, he encountered the Oni, not the Enel.
Yeah. Okay.
He told you about the rapier incident.
Which I don't remember at all.
I'll explain that in a bit, but go on.
Yeah. So we had to rescue him, and then we found out like the guy owning the space station that he was held captive at was this one rich motherfucker who was like, I think he'd funded part of the military, but he wasn't necessarily a part of it.
Yeah.
And
Well, it's a
the
corporate military sort of thing.
yeah, the girl that was a member of the Nell, she suspected that this guy might be connected to the Oni and he might be the traitor that we're looking for. So I contacted Tim. I told Tim this information, and Tim's like, "All right, that guy's a big dude. He's kind of a higher up. If you're telling me this guy's a traitor, I can't act on this at all. But if you act on this guy, I can take care of it." So we basically hatched with Crone, the Nell, and Ruby and everybody. We hatched this plan to abduct this guy, and
from his pleasure asteroid.
From his pleasure asteroid. And I think at this point in time, I got the Scarlet. Scarlet had actually basically joined the ship at this point in time. So I kind of just
as
like
just
had her
a concubine.
Yeah, she's as a concubine, but I had her just kind of like I told her just to stay on the ship, and I taught her how to use a gun and stay safe. But we went in there, we attacked the pleasure asteroid. I think we fought a few more robots and soldiers, grabbed him, dragged him onto the ship, and then just like flew out in outer space. And we got to a location which was going to be like the drop planet. It was going to be like a moon that had a forest on it, but we had to be sure he was connected with the Oni. So what we did was, I think I very carefully planned out like how to keep this guy hostage. Like I had him blindfolded constantly. Anytime he had to use, like I had people check on him like around the clock. I was very careful in
Her
dealing
name
with
was
him.
Celeste.
Celeste was the Nell.
Yeah, the Enel.
Yeah.
Who got to be a badass. Like, the way I had the Enel fight is they weren't running around with laser cannons.
Yeah,
they were
she had,
running around like swords and shields or a two-hand, as Y-hander or whatever.
Yeah, she had like
and one of her things was just sort of like charge into people who are in power armor and crash them through a wall.
It's pretty badass.
Yeah.
It's like Cassandra and Sophidia from Soul Calibur, but alien and more powerful. So, but yeah, the if I recall, the I was very careful on how to handle holding this guy hostage and how to basically stay in touch with Tim and not like give too much of my hand away, because I still don't fully 100% trust Tim.
Yeah, because Tim was behaving strange.
Well, and again, and even if Tim is a good guy, he has like masters he answers
His military
to.
career to look.
Yeah, I can't.
Because
like,
he's special. He's special ops, so his rank doesn't really mean much compared to what he's willing to do for the military.
Yeah, he's a good guy, and I like him, but I can't 100% trust him by the nature of what he is, essentially. So it was like that was one of the more compelling things.
But
so
he was hooking you up with some stuff.
Yeah, so
and then you had Crone's like old special forces gear.
Yeah. I want to say we actually hung out with Crone's dad. We actually ran into his.
You did go to Deldalar's planet, and he offered to do experiments on you as well.
Yeah, and I'm like, nah, that's cool, but nice meeting you.
Deldalar had the reason why they could beat Deldalar is because Ruvi's in essentially the universal group. Essentially, if you will put science before everything, and always be going towards the advancement of all species. All life, you can be a part of this group. And Deldalar was a scientist before he was his race or his species, and so was Ruvi and a few other people that they get to meet.
Yeah,
it's a secret society. It's my White Lotus Society.
It's your White Lotus Society. It's kind of like Starfleet to some, or specifically the science aspect of it. Like we are space scientists first. It's like without the military aspect of Starfleet, essentially. Or like the interspecies exchange program which is established in Enterprise, where it's like the no.
You don't even have to be a pacifist to be in it. It's literally about science first. Like there's plenty of times where science, if you go with pure science, goes against morals. Where it's like you can't commit, genetic modifications on a child of a different species without express permit of the other species.
Yeah, but yeah, I remember, like, as for keeping this guy hostage, it was like I had him blindfolded and cuffed at all times. I had multiple people guarding him around the clock. We would take shifts.
Oh, by the way, to explain the organization further, they did actually create a lot of things that did, and they made money off the patents to fund all of their members. Like, it was a very explicit, tenured group. Yeah. The college, the Galactic College Council.
Yeah.
There we go.
But yeah, we would escort him to the bathroom. I remember, and it was like, and we would routinely interrogate him, and we didn't touch him But we just had like Nell just talk to him, and Nell just like talked to him for like days.
Celeste.
Yeah.
Celeste doesn't sleep, so she just sat there and talked to him for days.
And then eventually, like, after like 2 days, he just broke down and he admitted to everything. It was like,
because could you imagine literally having to deal with somebody who has all the patience in the world for you?
Yeah.
They just want one thing. It's like, Eddie, how long could you take me asking you the same?
Repeat that again.
Eddie, how long could you take me asking you the same thing?
Probably not very long. I'd probably just like, what?
Eddie, how long could you take me asking you the same thing?
I hate you.
Yeah. And that doesn't take very long.
Yeah.
So I'm always the kind of person that's like, there is a psychological aspect. That's why I hate it when Eddie power.
What? Say that again? Were you making fun of
I
me?
hate it when you power game because there's a psychological aspect.
Yeah.
Where he's like, my character's not afraid of the dark shadow water.
Yeah. My shell's all about kicking ass and taking names.
I jump into there, not thinking about stingrays or fucking doom or sharks.
Yeah. Oh, I hug sharks.
Hulu.
Hug them. I'm fucking Haggar from Final Fight who like wrestles sharks. No joke.
Anyhow, getting back to the main character point, we're on number 3, Eddie.
Yeah,
So we're keeping up with the history. Like, he played for a long time, and I'm a very, just, dude, someone wants to play one of my games and is devoting themselves to it, I'll jump right into this. Unfortunately, right now.
You got cut out again.
Okay, but yeah, we played for a long time. How's it going?
Hi.
Because you keep telling me I get cut out. But yeah, you can pick up anywhere. I'm just explaining back.
Now you sound good.
Really?
Yeah, don't move from this point.
I have my phone upside down.
Glue it to your face.
I think it's that I'm plugging it in and it's creating discontent in my phone.
Okay. Behold, clicking noises of Malmodo's fingers.
No, it's not my fingers. It's the clicking noise of my plug going into my phone.
Okay.
Because it's at 23%. I don't want to die in the middle of this call. I'm explaining the story. I really enjoyed running.
Yeah.
So they meet Crone, who's like supposedly like this crazy, just charming, everything. Like he's Adam Warlock, essentially, is what his character is supposed to be like. Is the easiest way to describe it. I didn't know Adam Warlock existed when I made Crone. But Crone is a normal guy, and he can shoot guns really well. But he's also super fucking tough because they tried a carbon mesh on him, and he was one of like the few people that succeeded in living through it. Because essentially, what happened was Deldalar is like, oh god, this is going to eventually just not allow his body to grow, and he's going to get so compressed that he dies. So he fixed the outfit. Like, he just did all these things to allow it to be, proper where it's supposed to be. Deldalar is like this amazing scientist, and he cared about Crone. He actually did go, well, what's a parent like? And he just, read Crone's mind and shit like that, and he's like, okay. And he just, essentially it was like this science project of raising the human offspring.
Yeah.
He was like, day 37 with the human larvae. They asked why. A lot.
Mm-hmm. It's annoying me about why is the sky blue? Why is Daddy a man?
No, he'd just sit there and talk to... Oh, the Nuezic guy could just be like, here's information directly into your brain. Because they're psychics.
Yeah.
Like, Crone has, like, all these things that are hidden in his brain.
Yeah.
Crone can't access Deldalar unless Deldalar approves it with a subroutine he's hidden inside of psychic programming in Crone's brain. Like, Deldalar is not a nice guy. That's a lot of my themes. He's not a nice guy. Yeah. But he's not a mean guy. He's not doing anything cruel. He knows that Crone could accidentally lead people to him.
Yeah. So like it's like a combination of like Alucard from Hellsing and Dark City, where
Crone
what's really in there,
talk.
The control restrictions that would normally keep Alucard in check are just what's keeping your tuning powers in check, like in Dark City. And like one day, you're suddenly gonna remember your entire history, and just Keith Sutherland's there the entire time teaching you how to tune, so you can kick the crap out of Mr. Book.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
that was a great movie. I love that movie.
Dark City's an awesome movie. It's like The Matrix, but it didn't sell out, so I went there. Anyway, we were talking about Crone. You still there?
I'm here.
Okay, cool.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
So while we're interrogating, like eventually, Celeste like breaks the guy. She like talks to him for. It might have even been a shorter amount of time than like 2. I think it was 2 days. It was like 2 days, but it felt like it was like more like a couple of hours, and she just broke the guy. She just talked to him, and just boom, and he's crying, and it's like, yeah, I encountered this monster alien, the Oni, and it was like, I've been working with it the entire time. He just fessed up to everything, and the entire time I was like, I was basically monitoring where I was taking my ship. I was like moving my ship through asteroid belts and things like that, and I was moving around, and I wasn't giving Tim a straight answer. And it's like, I'll meet you up. Like we had a rendezvous spot, but I kept near it, but not close enough to where I didn't want to get like fucking jumped. I didn't want to get fucking ambushed by like some space patrol. And
Yeah.
and then finally we took him down to the surface of this planet. We like tied him to a tree. And I basically I gave Tim the location, and Tim's people moved in to grab the guy, and that's I think where we left off. And it's like that was like the last session we had. So it's like we didn't have any.
I'm trying to remember what was going to happen to that guy.
Yeah.
So a bit of background stuff that was left out from perspective.
Yeah.
The entire thing, what happens is when they meet Crone, Crone tells them about the rapier incident, and essentially, like, Crone is a disgraced human hero. Around that time, he got blackballed because he essentially stumbled across, like, a big secret, which was the Oni.
Mm-hmm.
The Enel are intergalactic. The Oni are too. The Oni came here on a vessel called the Rapier. And it's essentially this gigantically long, like, not from planet to planet, but like moon maybe, in like huge vessel. And it's very thin, but it's got like, you know, a pommel-like shape, so they called it the Rapier.
Yeah.
And essentially it consumes planets. Like, it opens up a bit, and it converts planets to energy, and it uses that to power its thruster. So it can consume a planet and jump to another galaxy. Well, what happens if these things move in large groups? That's essentially what the Oni do, is they move in large groups, and they consume billions of planets. So they essentially just take bites out of things. And they can convert the energy back into matter, but they mostly do it for desired materials.
You got cut off after you said millions of planets.
They can consume millions of planets because these things consume a planet and then they jump.
Yeah.
So you have millions of these seed chips that they send out that then, because they have the matter easily like accessible, because they convert it back from energy, they can just make more ships, and they multiply rapidly.
Okay.
The Enel have what I call dimensional powers. They were my crazy gravity and dimensiony creatures. The Enel had not dimensional power. Force.
Right, you're getting cut out again.
Had. God damn. This is starting to annoy me.
Glue it to your face.
It's not that. I fucking told you, it's internet reception.
Okay.
I've been dealing with this all night, folks. That's why I'm bitch.
Yeah. You sound beautiful now.
It's gonna quit because what you have is a stuttering connection. You need to have
You're
your
fine.
modem.
You sound great now. Go. Enel, gravity, and then you need something.
Yes, the Enel use gravity, and the Oni use rifts. The humans, I had them have high tech. Nuazic have a lot of regeneration, psychic ability, stuff like that. The Necra just have a shit ton of health and have a lot of horrifying shit done.
A lot of horrifying
But yeah, there was no Necra character. There was no Necra in your group, but I was about to introduce one.
Okay.
That
sounds like it's unheard of. Like, the Necra don't seem like they play nice with anybody.
The thing with the Necra is the way that I design them is that they eventually start to fracture.
Okay.
Because they have such deep seeds that these people forget that they're Necra. So if they can't come back in to a Necra hive cluster, or a cluster.
Yeah.
But a cluster is like 15 Necra, all with the base Necra programming. You know, divide, assimilate. Except they're, you know, horrible. pretend to be people, right? So it's like the Thing. Like, that's the horrifying thing with the... It's all like the Thing. So most humans wear personal shields to prevent that from happening. A lot of other races adopted personal shields, which allow humans to stay relevant. They have shield technology cornered. And but it's really scary otherwise, because it's like someone could touch you and siege you with Necrod. You could have a massive outbreak.
Yeah.
If you want references, ideas, like Knights of Sidonia, fucking things that eat, the Thing.
You got cut off. You got cut off at Knights of Sidonia.
But like Knights of Sidonia, Xenomorphs, or the Thing, like, it just eats everybody.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's why the Necra are so dangerous. That's why the galaxy hates us, is because literally that kind of horrifying shit was made by humans.
Yeah.
I digress. Back to the Rapier. The Rapier is a giant ship for Oni that made it to our planet, because essentially the Enel were trying to wipe, because they essentially would eventually use up all matter to jump around space. Like, they're the reason that we have
who is the Enel trying to wipe out?
The Oni.
The Oni. Okay, they're trying to wipe out the Oni. Okay.
The Oni are naturally able to manipulate matter. They're like a very ancient race, and they too look human. Causes different concerning. But yeah, so the Enel, the Oni are essentially trying to bring in a bunch of other Oni because of the fact that the humans that they encounter are helping them. Human technology work real good for them.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a dangerous combination. Gas.
You're cutting out again.
It's like gas and fire connect. It's just, start causing a lot of problem, destruction.
Gotcha.
But
now,
so yeah, your people.
The Enel have blue skin, right? Blue skin and like white hair.
No. The Enel are perfect beings. They look beautiful. They're fair of skin. But they have any desired hair color. She might have had blue hair as well.
She had blue hair, but she looks humanoid.
Yeah, they all look human. They look like beautiful fucking people.
Okay. And
it's all because of the X. Because I already, like, they haven't even touched the Necra. Like, this story is supposed to go through 3 enemies. I usually have like 5 bosses deep. So his first encounter is with like his problem with Small Fry. He moves his way up to having to like crack the case on this war. He starts involving himself with like deep op or war effort to overcome the Oni, and then the Necra attack, and he has to deal with the Necra shit, so he has this big horror element start hitting, and then that's dealt with, and then the Aeonians. But I don't get a chance to have the Aeonians, because it was severed off, so I gave him a bunch of XP so he can story quickly.
Okay. Alright, I think we were pretty much caught up at this point. Well, no, are you finished talking about the Rapier incident?
The Rapier incident is where Crone's, prestigious career took a nose, because they stumble across that the Oni wipe them out. Oni technology is essentially practically like enchanted weapon science. And so the way how Superman gets fucked up by magic essentially happened to them. An Oni can fight with like opening portals and doing lashes. They have knives and swords that
opening portals and what?
Materials. They open energy lashes and opening portals and shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
Exciting matter to explode into energy.
Yeah.
One of their things, like oh yeah, antimatter. Like their entire rapier revolves around tapping into a very powerful Oni, sort of like killing them in the process, but using all of their will to destroy it and create a massive warp forward.
Okay.
But yeah, so fun stuff. The Oni are really powerful. I always thought of this game as like a first-person shooter if I was ever to have it take off, and you have to like play different.
You gotta play different what?
Races have to play differently. The way that Arbiter and Master Chief were exactly the same in Halo 2 was kind of a letdown.
Yeah.
There was the invisibility aspect, which was a lot of fun, and you missed the flashlight periodically. But fuck that game. It was so easy just to run around fucking Arbiter.
Yeah. Okay. Trying to think what else we haven't covered. All right. So, like, character creation wise, what are you allowing me to do?
So you get the full 15 freebie point because we know your character's ground. It's been played out over like.
You're cutting out again.
You all right? We know your character's background over the extent of like 8, so you get the full free.
You cut
I'm
out
beefing
you
you
cut out
up.
one more time, dude. I'm sorry.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Hopefully it doesn't happen again, laddie, because I'm getting sick of it.
Yeah, I know.
Alright. So you're getting the full freebie point number 15 for the time played.
Okay.
You're getting 150 XP to spend on stuff, even into merits and stuff, so you can have like more crew and other ships that are linked to you. Because we kind of wanted to have it where you could influence more than just like what one.
Yeah.
Because you are doing galactic level stuff.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Sounds good. And so that's where we're starting off with. Now, there is something in my travels and my collection of way too many books that I discovered. I discovered something called, I think it's a fan-made item called Future World of Darkness. So it's specifically, it's mainly tailored to Old World of Darkness, but basically it's like it's a source book that has to do with like, all right,
Old World of Darkness had a broken roll system.
yeah, but like essentially it seems kind of interesting. It's like it's not something. I mean, this is it's kind of out. It's outside the topic of this conversation. I think it's kind of a cool idea though, where it's like it's in the world of darkness but in the future. So like say like Gehenna never happened, and it's like we actually got to a future with spaceships and shit like that, and vampires and werewolves are still
But
around.
Not gonna be vampires or werewolves.
I know. I'm briefly describing what's in this book. Essentially, that's cool.
And I don't need it if it's all about that. I
It's
just want
not
to
all about that. The point is, it's World of Darkness, but it has laser guns in it, and has things like that. Could I use that as a source maybe for weaponry?
I have to read it.
Okay, all right, I'll show it to you. And it's like I think it'll be all right.
I'm a pretty good judge. You don't have to tell me anything. Just send it to me, and I will be like, yay or nay.
Okay, because if nothing else,
Or I will give you errata for each thing that you.
Okay. Well, we also could check. We could probably check things like Sovereign, or like maybe some of the other like fan books too, as well. Would have something like that as well. Like you got Gray's The
That's
Abduction
fine.
for like Old World of Darkness as well, which is kind of neat.
Because mostly what humans have is science. So they have their
Ooh, genius! I need to get genius
Their
transgression.
shield tech, their jets, their rocket, their jet. Essentially, they have Mass Effect level technology where they have armor, shields over that armor that'll absorb it.
Yeah.
They do have a different variety of guns. There's different rounds for different reasons. To use laser, to use metal.
Yeah, you're starting to cut out again.
New ASIC.
New ASIC? Okay.
Yeah, the new ASIC, they take different damage because they can project fields of ionic or magnetic varieties that they use to sort of be dodge lasers and dodge bullets, but it's actually spending the power of.
Okay, but it's like also we have guns, we have the armor with shields on it, we got jetpacks. You think you said earlier?
Yeah, you get those two.
Okay.
There's a lot of crazy human tech. If you want to talk to me about like drones and stuff, we can work those in. There was the node technology, which is essentially like these small drones that draw up very strong shields in front of you and stuff, so you can use them to make like low barriers.
Okay.
Cover.
I want celerity, and I want the ability to blood boil my enemies as a Tremere.
You fucking quit with that. I'm like
I want the fortitude
so
discipline.
annoyed that you won't take any of my fucking game world serious because that's what Davis has been doing.
I love
like
this
getting
game
on my
world. I love
fucking
this game.
nerves.
I'm making World of Darkness jokes. I apologize.
I know, but it's not a good joke to me because I'm like, I want this game to finish.
Yeah.
Like, the annoying part about being a GM is like you often have people cut out from you before they, and you're like, fuck.
Well, we already had a frustrated Dungeon Master's corner, but let's just go into it again. It's like, yeah, like
This game is what we're working on because essentially every time Davis says no, I go, I got other games I could finish.
Yeah. And that's true.
And this is a good game to finish because it has adult.
Say it again.
Fuck a lot. It has adult content and reasons for me to say fuck a lot, so it's a good game to finish.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so I have a character to make, and we'll work on this later. We should be good to go. So you will probably, if we can't get like I still really wanna get Dents done. So you have
hopefully.
So like you have more of the sessions to listen to. And,
yeah. Once I catch up on those, if Davis isn't ready to play, too bad.
Yeah. So that's our plan there. We will do Pokemon at some point.
He will die.
You will know that my name is the Lord as I lay my vengeance upon ye, and that is fine.
Oh my God! I gotta kill you if you're gonna do any more Bible Man references. That shit. It's not because I'm an atheist. It's just because it's so dumb.
That was from Pulp Fiction, you dumb motherfucker.
Oh well, I don't watch much of that shit either. I've seen it only like one time.
Quentin Tarantino. Wait. I think, sir, you forget yourself. You forget yourself.
I need to see something once and decide if I'm like, I need to see that again or not. And that movie, I was like, meh.
That was Pulp Fiction. That was what that was from.
That
was from the Bible, but that was Sam Jackson. That was Sam Jackson.
That was meh.
It's a fine movie.
But go on. Meh.
Bring out the Gimp. Anyway, so Xenius isn't here.
Yep.
So yeah, but like so we can't. We'll work on this too. I'll level up a character for it, and that's something we can do. We can also probably will do Buffy at some point in time in the future. I need to watch.
And I'll write up all the characters.
Yeah, you got ideas.
I gotta do Tim's stuff and all of his guys. Deldelar.
Yeah, so you're gonna make character sheets for Arc Star, and I got the title right this time. So, yay me!
Hooray!
Yeah,
hooray! Good. I'd give you extra points, but I already gave you a Surfette. You know what? 20 free.
15 free points. Now, like 15, is that like just the what is that?
Freebie points are 1-to-1. They can buy any dot 1-to-1. XP spins like XP.
Okay. XP spins like okay with the 15. Okay, so that's like the 15 character creation points.
Yeah, you get all the character creation stats that are listed. You know how to build the character sheet, hopefully by now. I mean, this is only your second one, but I'm kind of annoyed that I have to constantly walk people. Simple, it's at the bottom.
Yeah, I can do it now. I can do it now.
Are you sure? So what do I mean by primary, secondary, and tertiary stats and skills now?
Can I play Mickey Mouse with the machine gun?
Fuck you fucking fuck.
And on that note, we will get some more dark. We will get some more Arc Star later.
You know what? I'm going to talk about my Mickey Mouse Cthulhu hallucination I had earlier.
He had this Mickey Mouse Cthulhu hallucination. I actually did record that. I wasn't going to like include it. I think I was just going to. I was trying to
find a way to throw it out there.
Ooh, that's. Oh, I could edit that. I could edit. Oh my god, I might actually get off my ass and edit, folks. That's a scary.
Oh, you have that recorded where I talked about the entire like Mouth of Madness, fucking chopping out pieces of your face.
Yeah, I'll edit it down. I'll edit it down because mostly I was just complaining about life. But it's like, but yeah, I can edit that up and we'll put that out there too. That'll be fun. Yeah. So, but yeah, so look forward to Arc Star in the future, folks. We're gonna do this as a role playing game as well as other fun games. I need to watch some season 1 Buffy again so I can properly kill Libby. You know,
you'll never succeed. I will constantly anti-weed.
You'll constantly I don't even know what that means. I don't even know what that means.
My character can never have any drama involved with them. Like, there's no threat of her dying, so people don't care that. They're like, she's just gonna sit there and fight indefinitely. She won't die, and they're gonna get bored. And every time she's on screen, they're like, "It's that fucking android that won't die again."
I did almost kill you this last session, if I recall.
Which is
I Highlandered you. I Highlanded you quite well.
You know, if I die, I'll just quit playing.
You'll just quit play. Well, I would expect that because you lost the game. And then I'll come back. I'll come back and
the game wasn't worth my trouble.
I'll come back. You're really gonna be a bitch like that? Like, oh no, my character died.
I'll just go watch Buffy. I told you. That's all I've got to do, and then I'll be the end of it. Because everybody's like, "Oh, Buffy's so great." I'm like, "What is that?"
Yeah. So then my mission will be completed. I've gotten you to actually watch Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Ergo, I win.
Is that what this is about, Eddie? Is it about you winning?
It's about winning. It's Charlie Sheen.
Okay.
Charlie Sheen without the AIDS.
Sheen or everybody else. You win like Sheen or you lose like everybody else.
That's right. Right. Winning. Hashtag
Good
winning,
night.
folks. Okay, I think that's all for now. I think you want to go to bed. I don't know if I want to go to bed. I might want to stuff myself with hamburgers. like, you know.
I already ate all my burritos.
Yeah. So, yeah, we're also going to talk about how, like fat we are. Fat and eating terrible fat. I had some honey walnut treat.
Eddie, I'm done.
Nice.
Have a good night.
Okay. This is Red Pirate saying, talk to y'all later. And stop the recording now. Bye.